Hey everybody, it's Noelle. Welcome to day two. I am actually in the process because I was all excited to get started updating the title of this. So let's see if it works live. I am on a platform known as Restream, and they are amazing. So I'm updating those right now. Day two, hopefully, when you see this, you will see. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to see you. Day two, can you believe it? And of course, right? Like I'm on my way downstairs and something happened and I had to go take care of it before I headed down. But I will have you know, my children knew I was going live today and they have me rocking the mama shark, right? Right? Anyway, but I like it. I actually was like, mama sharks, that's a thing. I kind of like the idea of it. I'm not really a shark from the like Jaws perspective, but I can see some appeal. But anyway, it's so great to see you all. Thank you all for joining me. Wow, this party is getting started. There are so many new people here. I'm going to try not to be nervous. Okay, it's going to be fine. These are my blue light glasses. You should all have them, but for live, I'm not going to do it. Today, I actually have a presentation for you because so many people are joining us today for the first time. I'm going to do a recap. I'm going to head over to my slide deck as we talk. But yesterday was such a fun day, and so many people participated. I actually do have there were a couple last minute entries into the I guess award or gift card homework assignment last night. So I will be posting about 20 minutes after this video ends. I did a spin the wheel. Um, so you can see kind of randomly who gets chosen. But we have two people who just posted their homework, so I can't do it now. So I'm going to, after this, I will add their names in, spin the wheel again, record the video, and we can do it. You'll see live who the winner is. It's so fun. I think you'll find it fun and exciting. It's also a really good tool you can add to your toolbox. It's a free thing you can go do, but it's super fun. I mean, I had more fun probably by myself creating it and watching it spin, but hopefully you'll find it helpful too. All right, I'm headed over to Google Slides and then I'm going to um, have to share my screen. And so if you could hear me, now's the time. Go ahead and go into the chat and hashtag live. Sorry for some of you. There is a weird bug on some platforms. Oh, and I'm live over here on the TikTok. So nice to see you all. But yes, sometimes when you start typing, a weird echo starts. Not on mine, but I've heard this happen to several people listening. So if that happens, really sorry. You could also try seeing this on a different stream. I'm streaming on 5 different channels right now simultaneously. So feel free to join me there. All righty. Oh, yes. So headed talking and directing all at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and right now I'm going to share my screen and see how this goes. So I'm going to pick this, share screen. All right, here we go. And I'm going to flip over and actually could show you. I'll share my screen right now. Let's see, live. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, that's kind of cool, right? Um, so that's hi. And that is my screen. It's like Inception. You can see me infinitely. But I'm going to go ahead and flip on over to this the presentation. So I'm going to put it into presentation mode. Let's just go ahead and get started. So many of you have just jumped on in, and I think today is going to be an incredible next step. But first, of course, welcome to the challenge. For those of you who are brand new, I am so excited that you are here. We've got some amazing players this week. And November, the end of November, is just such a good time to be thinking about the things we're going to talk about this week. Last week, we actually covered, or last week, yesterday, we covered a couple of key concepts. But one thing I didn't really get to do is show you my people. I have this slide in every presentation that I do, every keynote, every podcast, and I show people who I am and why I do what I do. And because yesterday was a lot about who are we here to serve and how are we going to serve them. This is me. These are my this is my gaggle of people. There's my dad, my son Max, who has Down syndrome. And I just wanted to share with you that, like, this is who I am. I'm a single parent with a gaggle of people that I care about. And everything I do in my life is through the lens of how can I help these people, right? So sometimes a lot of, or how can I help me 5 years ago or 5 months ago, right? When things happen in our lives, some of us choose to kind of, well, we may not choose, but some of us kind of get beaten down by those things. And some of us, as we're being beaten down, start thinking, how could this really bad thing help other people? And that's kind of the life that I live, that I'm trying to share with you all. It's why I created Lovefluencers, because I was like, man, let's turn our wounds into wisdom and help people out. Even if it doesn't alleviate their pain entirely, it will shorten the duration in that bad place. And so all of you have been playing full out, and I really appreciate it. But this is me. I just thought I would share it with you. Another thing about being a lovefluencer, being Noelle, I wanted to share with you is a quote that I have shared in also every event that I have an opportunity. And this really rings true for me, and maybe it'll ring true for you. But I wanted to share it with you as well. So forgive me for a second while we read this quote, but I think you'll understand why as I get towards the end. So, what is success? To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate the beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived, this is to have succeeded. This was actually made popular by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Many of you on this call know Emerson, or maybe watching the replay, know Emerson. Great metaphysician, poet laureate, like super popular person. However, after saying this quote a few times, someone pulled me aside ever so gently and was like, you should look that up. He's not actually the person who wrote it. And I was like, oh, what? And I went and researched it, and it turned out Bessie Anderson Stanley was the one who originally coined the essence of this poem. And Emerson, of course, made it popular. I actually love them both. It wouldn't be possible without both of them doing what they did, but I do like to give both credit. But it also leads me to this wonderful conclusion of things are not always what they seem, right? And it's important to dig a little bit beneath the surface of any idea to find its true essence, and in that, actually make the idea better. And of course, it's always good to give credit where credit is due. So that's kind of like a little moral of this story. But what I love about this quote that has become so true for me is that success is very much what we decide it is. And for some of us, it's going to be to have four healthy children living a good life. Some of it's going to be inspiring people to build a better brand. For some of us, it's going to be helping people break through the procrastination nonsense that some of us get stuck in. Thanks, Jim. Great idea. And some of us, like, oh my gosh, like Rebecca with the bath bombs or bath and body works type stuff versus graphic design. Like, I understand that challenge because you could help so many people in both. I think all of us understand that, like, success can be defined however we choose, but we should be careful in what, like, I shouldn't say careful, we should be thoughtful about how defining success, what that means to us. So just to recap what we did yesterday, we started off by really asking, and I think it's really connected to that quote of, like, what is success to us? What problem, if we solve this problem for people, if they write to us on LinkedIn and say, oh my gosh, you changed my life with this thing, would that feel like success to us? So, what problem do we solve? What result can we generate for someone? And then, who specifically is it? I noticed something actually in a pattern of my private conversations and those in the group around like who do we serve? This is the most common challenge we run into is we want to serve everybody or a big old group of people. And what I would encourage you to do, I'm the same exact way, right? I have an AI business. I want to serve as many businesses as possible to teach them to build and use AI ethically, responsibly, with a diverse team. Like I am super passionate and I want every single company involved. But and then I have LOVEfluencers, you all, and I want to help people, like even people who have lost their jobs or who are doing a career change, build a brand that's recognizable, that they're proud of, that can attract the right employer to them. So I've got these two things that I'm equally passionate about. But it's so important to kind of narrow your focus. So in LOVEfluencers, I didn't just create like social media marketing for everybody, right? I said, no, I want those who care about empathy, kindness, leading with a heart of service. I want those that think differently about how they want to market what they do and how they want to create that relationship with the world. And that's who you all are. So thank you for coming. But then on the other side of it, like with AI, I have yet to do that same narrowing. What kind of businesses do I want? This goes back to yesterday. We talked about the persona, right? Literally building a persona, giving them a name, and putting them on your board and basically saying, what would this person do? What would they do? How would they respond to my ad? How would they respond to this blog post or this TikTok? And using them and their persona, their attributes, the visualization of who they are in your mind to guide what you do. And that person isn't going to be 5 different people. It's going to be one. And so I'm not saying you don't have to serve 5 different people. I just think it's important to maybe create 5 different personas and go after one at a time. Very specifically, laser focused, targeted, one person with a certain result that you can drive for them. And there are a lot of people that are like that. A lot of people that fall into that bucket of that one persona. So I think there is treasure in this narrowing of focus. And so many of us, the broader we stretch ourselves, the harder it is. It's like a rubber band, right? The weaker that rubber band becomes, the further and further it's stretched. And so narrow focus is really, I think, the key. We also talked about a morning routine. A question from Jim, or actually probably clarification, was around mindfulness versus meditation. And uh, I talked about yesterday doing a heartbeat based gratitude meditation. And it was a meditation because I was basically in a different state of mind. I was closing my eyes. I was thinking, actually, like trying to focus my thoughts on a specific activity. And it was somewhat prayerful in nature. Mindfulness, though, is a little bit different. It's something I do throughout my entire day. And it's literally like training my mind to be still. And it's less about like praying or having intention about my state. It's just clearing my mind. Or because it's called mindfulness as opposed to mind emptiness, it's concentrating on a single thing and letting everything else fade away. And it's not necessarily a mantra of love. It could easily be the light ring on my Alexa device, right? It could be any of those things. It could be I was sitting in traffic and I would do a mindfulness activity around the lights. Oh, traffic. Remember those days? Anyway, the light ring on the brakes of the car in front of me. I could have intentional, awake mindfulness of training my mind to just focus. You'll see a common theme here. Focus. And I feel focused mind is tightly coupled with this concept of mindfulness. But it's definitely something I'm super passionate about and would love to talk more about in our group. And then finally, vulnerability. I know when we hear that word, sometimes we think like open weeping at our desk or on a conference call. But really, vulnerability to me is being real with your struggle, being real with your success, being real with the challenges that you are in as you overcome them. I've heard different people call it like the messy middle, and being willing to be vocal and share your messy middle. Because if you don't know, lots of people are in the messy middle right now. Lots of people are like, oh my gosh, is this really? I mean, I even say this to myself. Like, I walked upstairs after my live yesterday and my house was destroyed. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what? What am I going to do? And we're all there. Like we all, like a lot of the messages you all are talking about in the Facebook group are so inspiring because they are they are feelings that I have and feelings I know a lot of people have, but being willing to say it out loud and then provide a result to get somewhere new, I think that's so powerful. So anyway, vulnerability, morning routines, and focusing on who we serve and what we want to serve them with was all yesterday. So those are three things. Today, and I'm actually going to flip back to my oh goodness, how do I do this? Oh yeah, escape. Flip back to my live stream. Hopefully you all were able to see it. And I'm going to turn off my screen share just for a moment as I introduce the concepts for today. We do have live chat. Oh my goodness, it's so great to see everyone. Yesterday, I guess was a anyway. I it's so funny because I just turned on chat so I could see all of you. Hi, Leanne, Benito, Brian. Oh, Brian's here. Frank's here. Oh, so good to see all of you. Kasam, what's up? My friends from all over the world. This is the benefit of having like a brand, but more importantly, the tools to talk to people like this. I am live streaming on 5 platforms and have people all across the globe tuning in. This is so cool. Anyway, super awesome. So really great. I am currently, Rebecca, thanks for the question. Sorry, I know this was a minute ago, but I am currently on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, um, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. What else? Facebook. I'm on 3 different Facebook pages, and I feel like something else that I'm not thinking about. Twitch, maybe. So really exciting. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and commenting. Restream is like so amazing. So look it up, restream.io. It is a paid platform, but it's relatively nominal. And hopefully by the end of this week, I will give you enough information to build a brand to sell something that you can then pay to have some platform services to help get the word out. So, all right, let's do this. So let's go back and oh yeah, no, great question, Frank. So Frank just asked if um and I'll show it'll be like Inception. So TikTok is right here. Hi TikTok family. Thank you so much for joining. But yes, no, I am yeah. So I'm TikToking on my phone. I am on Restream on my computer on the other platforms. But I'm so glad you all are here. Let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, let's do this. Okay, so back to work. I'll flip back and forth to the screen share just because I want to be able to kind of share with you some of these ideas. Okay, so let me turn that back on. And so I'm going to go over and talk about what we're going to do today. So today we're going to focus on building your web presence. And I actually consider it more like the written word because there's more than just the web presence, but I want to give you some very tactical things to do. Now, all of you, as far as I know, probably already have a web presence of some sort because we're on the web talking to each other on a social channel, which means that you have a social channel that could be your web presence. That could be the extent of it. However, I do want to show you and actually demonstrate for you some of the things I've done and different ways that I have done it that you might want to also look at. I know that there are people in this channel, and I'm happy to have you guys contribute, or you all, to contribute to the Facebook group with your, like, where your web presence is. Because it's important, A, to get a habit of telling people where you live on the internet, and also because you never know who in this group might be like, man, that's pretty cool. For example, Rebecca and the bath stuff. And Pilates. Like there were a couple things where I was like, let me talk to you about that. So you never know where you'll find something that you need and something that can help you get where you want to go. So improving your web presence. Let's talk about the first thing. And this is critical. You are your brand. You are your brand. And what this means is that I will tell you, when I first started brand building, I adopted the brand of my companies. So I worked at Red Hat and they had a product called JBoss. So I created a bunch of social channels called JBoss Girl and they did really well. I still actually am tracked with that name on slideshare.net where I post all of my PowerPoint content. And it's a nice reminder. But I wrapped myself like a blanket. I wrapped myself in the brands of the companies that I worked for. And it turned out over time, those brands went away, right? I didn't end up serving those brands anymore. And I was like, and I actually didn't even notice that I just kind of let all those followers go and built a new following in the next place that I went. And I did that again. And then I went to Alexa. And this is the number one piece of advice I got. A vice president at Alexa sat me down and was like, Noelle, I get, you're really great with social. You're really great at creating community. I want you to create, and this was 6 years ago, I want you to create dedicated Noelle Silver channels. It wasn't that name at the time, but Noelle Silver channels about you, because people are going to want to know about you, but they're also going to want to know about the thing you're excited about next. And it was great. And he also, of course, was like, it's much more professional to have a personal name set of domain assets. And I couldn't now, 7 years later, after I've started this work, could not agree more. So, of course, you have LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great place to create. I mean, that, of course, is personal. Let me go and I'm going to escape out of here and open up my LinkedIn profile. So this is great. You'll notice here, I don't know if you can see it, but I changed my URL to a term that I am passionate about, mindful leadership. That is a Noelle branded term. Like I came up with that idea. I think maybe I heard it. Maybe I heard mindful and leadership together. I don't know, but it became something I was super passionate about. So whenever I post my URL somewhere and say, connect with me, guess what they see? They see this word. They type in mindful leadership, right? Maybe you want it to be your name, or maybe you want, I mean, you could change this at any time. Maybe you want it to be, right, the company that you've created. But I'd encourage you to really hone in on what is it about you and how can you brand something that you wouldn't change just because you change companies or just because you change products or services that you support, right? So I'll just go in and let you see this. So really quick, this is part of your web presence, right? When someone Googles me, oh, let's do that. I actually haven't done this in a while. So let's Google, I don't know, it could be scary. Noelle Silver. Let's see what happens. All right, not too bad. So at my NPR, when I got hired at NPR, they did this big press announcement. So that's there. And my website, that's what we want. NoelleSilver.com, we want that to show up. And then Twitter, which is the platform I do the most posts on, probably because I'm myself and I just post anything from what's going on with my family to how depressed I am about some racial injustice to all my exciting things that I'm doing in AI. And then you can see there's my LinkedIn, right? So, and Speaker Hub and Advisory Cloud and some of the services that I am working with or on. So that's pretty cool. That's what I think that's what we want. So if you do not today have a website that is your name, that is my step one. I encourage you to do that because you are your brand. Today, I am all about LOVEfluencers, and I actually hope LOVEfluencers stays around forever. But I'm also about AI, and I'm also about public speaking and helping people do better on stage or even in meetings. I'm also about parenting special needs children. I'm also about education in general. And as I create these different assets, I want a home for them. And so creating your home base, your personal name, I think is a great first step. So if you've done that, certainly drop in the chat or better yet in the Facebook group, just drop your personal brand right in there to just see where you are. We can all go and support you. And if you haven't yet, there's lots of different ways to do that. Okay, so that's that. We good? Let me flip back, escape. I'm just going to check on our wonderful commentary to see how we're doing. All right, awesome. Oh yeah, Frank was saying I almost changed my site name to something Silverlight related. Oh my gosh, do you remember Silverlight? Anyway, good stuff though. Such a good thing. Anyway, thanks, Brian. Now I've Googled myself on your behalf. So, but it's important. I think today you could start today building your own personal brand And by the time we are out of this pandemic, you could have a meaningful place on the map just by doing a little bit every single day. It's really, really incredible what a little bit of work every day could do to change, right? How people find you and understand what you are about in this world, especially in a virtual world. Okay, so that's number one. Thank you all. Um, let's go back and talk about the next piece. So, the next piece, once you realize you are your brand and you start building your brand, there is, oh, let me actually go show you the brands that I have built. So, you saw Noelle.silver or Noelle Silver, oops, comes right up. This is like the homepage of me. It has my photos, my endorsements, videos, things that I'm most requested to do for people, testimonials, which are taken right from LinkedIn recommendations. And if you're not in the habit of asking for those, that's something you should do. Photos that have been taken of me, videos that I think, and I just keep adding to this, right? I just keep adding over and over. It's kind of like my personal blog, but not written in a blog format. Now, one thing I do encourage you to do, and I'll just show you another one, Noelle.ai. So this is very similar, except focused on my work in AI. And you'll see it has a pop-up with a single call to action, which we'll talk about in a second. And then LOVEfluencers, right? These are all, and there's another one. These are all different mechanisms that I've used to broadcast things that I care about, that I'm working on. And we'll talk about how I can do all the things later because some people are like, what? How can you do this? Um, we'll talk about that later. But for right now, what it allows me to do is I've got 3 different platforms. Noelle Silver's Noelle, like my brand, but I've also created, things that specialize my interests. And the idea is that we'd connect them all, right? That you'd be able to get to Noelle Silver anytime you clicked on that, and it would show you kind of the broadness of what my brand is. If you go to any large brand, like let's say Gary Vaynerchuk, right? He has like Gary V Media. He's got a sports organization. He's got wine, or I think he just sold off his wine org, but he's got all these different things, but all related to his personal brand. So try to think of yourself this way. For some of us, who are humble and can't like, it's hard for us to be like, oh my gosh, I have my own media company, I have my own, content company. These things are possible, but it is important for you to try and start to see yourself there and visualize yourself there. So the next thing, once you've got your brand and you have identified what that brand is, I want to just show you the next most important thing. There are 3 things. One, build the brand, right? Create a web presence that is about you and not about a product or a service, like that is you. And then the next thing is create a single way for your customers to communicate with you. So, single call to action, one CTA as it's called. And that single call to action, you could see it popped up, right? Was join my list. It is the most important thing you can do for your brand, your business, your ideas is to create a list of people who actually just like you, Noelle in my case, or you, Rebecca, or you, Jim, or you, Mariah, right? Like, or you, Frank, um, right? How do we make sure that people have a way to just stay connected with you as your brand evolves, as you get into new things? And so, on every website that you build, every web presence, you want to have a single call to action. Now, many times we go to a page and there's lots of stuff to do, right? Follow me on 5 different social channels. Do this. Click here. There's 15 different services you can buy, right? Just give them one thing. I've heard many times a confused mind says no. It just kind of shuts down when there's too many options, too many things to click on. It just says no. So what I try to do on my web presence and on my different pages is I create one thing. What's the most important thing I want them to do? And I would encourage you to carefully think about what that most important thing is. But in my mind, and what I've seen work for me, is that I create one thing that delivers value. In my case, I write blogs and I have lots of content, blog type content. And many of you went through my 5 blog sequence when you joined LOVEfluencers. But I build, I want them to join my list so that I can communicate to them. Now, the most common thing that happens once we build that list is that we stop talking to them. Or worse, I heard this just today, we're worried that the people who joined our list don't want to hear from us, which is funny because they don't join your list because you force them. They actually join because they want to hear from you. But there's something about us as humans that instantly, as soon as we create a list, we're like, oh, I don't want to necessarily email them again. What if they don't want to hear from me? And the reality is, I've seen this practiced over and over in every organization that has an email list. They don't talk to their people enough, right? And I'm not talking, this is why I could talk to you guys. LOVEfluencers, we're different. I'm not talking about the salesy message that's like, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing. I'm talking about the value. Remember the results? How can we, in an email message, once a day, once a week, once a month, send a message to the people that have already said, hey, I need help? How do we help them? And of course, you have a product to sell and you deserve a living to do this work. But there's so much you can do to build up reciprocity with your audience so that they know what you are offering them is real, tangible, executable, practical. There's so much out there right now that people buy a course and it disappears. Like they buy the course, they go through it, and there's no tangible results that they can hang their hat on, that they can say, yes, I did this and it worked. So my goal, of course, at the end of these 5 days is that you will pick one of these things and you will do it and it will work. And to do it in the context of what I have just done for LOVEfluencers, which worked. So the first thing I did was create a website. The second thing I did was create a single call to action, was to join my list. And I will actually take you behind the scenes into, I use GoDaddy. There's actually different people. I'd love for maybe Joe, you can, if you're watching this either live or on the replay, you could share with the group. He uses WordPress. I've also used WordPress. WordPress for me actually ended up, there's a lot of, I now work for a cybersecurity company, and one of the very first modules in cybersecurity training is how to what's the word? Take down a WordPress site. And I've had 70 sites taken down, just hacked into, and it's just frustrating. So I went to a platform that does all that work for me, so I don't have to do it. So GoDaddy is what I choose, but I also have, I'll show you, GoDaddy hosts Noel.ai and LOVEfluencers, but then I use Bluehost with a WordPress site to host noelsilver.com. So it just kind of depends on your skill set and your level of comfort, and also how much money you want to spend. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. Oh dear, if I can. All right, awesome. So I'm going to sign into my GoDaddy account. You can see my 2 websites here. And I just wanted to show you how this works. So once you create a call to action, you then want to create a list of, you'll see here, subscribers, people who sign up to hear from you. And then you want to create a consistent way of communicating to them. So what I ended up doing was creating an autoresponder. And there's this really great resource created by Russell Brunson. He's big in the internet marketing space and sales funnel space. And he created this, or talks about this concept called the soap opera series. And you, if you joined through LOVEfluencers, you got this series, which is a series of 5 emails that basically takes you through my hero's journey. So it's important that when you, right, these things have to be connected. You have to build a brand, your personal brand, then create a single call to action on that brand's page. But then you have to grab the reader's attention and tell them what you're there to do for them. So the soap opera series is a series of 5 emails that starts with, here's why I did what I did. Here's why LOVEfluencers exists. Here's the problem I faced, right? The wall that I hit as a LOVEfluencer and why creating this became important to me. Here's how I got over that. And here's my group. Come join it. It's literally the sequence that I go through in that. And that's the same thing you're going to want to do, is create just a standard 5 email kind of sequence that every new subscriber goes through. that just says who you are, and I'll share with you more details in a post, but who you are, your hero's journey, right? The goal you had, the obstacle you hit, and then how you got over it, and then what you are offering the world now to those who are in that same spot you were at the beginning. It's kind of magical, right? Because everyone, the right people, I should say, the right people, your dream customer is going to read that story and go, that's me. I want to join your Facebook group. I want to register to subscribe to your, paid newsletter, whatever your product is. But it gives them the ability to know you, and you are your brand. Whether you're selling books or bath stuff or Pilates classes, you are the reason that I invest in it for the most part, right? Like I look at you and I'm like, I like this person. This person's really nice. And they talk to me like I'm a human, and they sound like they know my pain. And better yet, they sound like they know how to help me. And I'll do pretty much whatever it takes to get help. So that is the whole build your brand and single call to action concept. I'm going to go ahead and present again and make sure that you guys can see. But the power of one, not confusing your audience with a bunch of options, especially at the beginning. This is hard for us because a lot of us have a list of things we want to do and help people with. But it's important to just pick one thing, and then ask people to engage in that one thing. And I do think that one call to action should be your email list. And the final thing I'll say about that is why email lists matter. The reason why is because there's a concept known as owned traffic you own, versus like paid or organic traffic you don't own. Facebook, even TikTok, even any of these platforms, when we put our eggs in their basket, when we put our content there, it's totally good to do that, but we don't own that traffic. And if that platform changes their algorithm, changes something about how they want to share content, your traffic flow changes and you have no control. But what do you always have control over if you own the traffic, if you own the list? You get to email your people anytime you want. The one thing I caution you with when you're building content in an email is just deliver practical, usable information that will change people, that will help them get the result you promised them. And then you'll be good. People will trust you, like you. And then they'll invest in the things that you want to offer and go with you up your value ladder of different increasing amounts of investment with you and your company. But it starts first with just knowing and liking and trusting someone, and being the one who gives, right? That's why we're LOVEfluencers. We give, give. And we know that through that active giving, people will realize the value in that. And of course, our job is then to also provide a path for those who are ready to invest more with us. Sometimes some of us, maybe me, have gone into certain businesses and they never really became a business because all we did was give, right? We never got to a point where we were willing to create an offer and then sell that offer to our customers. We were just like, oh, no, I mean, I've kind of given so much already. I can't really ask someone to pay me now. And so my hope at the end of this week is that you realize, of course we give. And we do this in an effort to serve our community, but we also need to provide a way for building businesses, right? I would love for each one of us to create a business that then has employees, that then helps the planet by creating opportunity for new people, new ways of supporting people in their different levels of complicated life. One thing I've realized is that there's so many people that like what I do, like right now, just to, I think we have 382 people, right? So there's tons of people who like just hearing me in this capacity. But there is a selection of these people that just want to have me one-on-one on a phone call, who just want to get in Zoom and share their screen and walk through building their domain or creating their email list or creating their soap opera sequence, right? Some people just want handheld support. And I love that. But that's, of course, where a business can be made, right? Because people are willing to pay for one-on-one support. You get all this for free. But if you want my personal time, that's a different story. So I think it's really important to realize that it's our opportunity we can give to people infinitely. I have maybe some of you think it's special, but I feel so energized when I do this that it really fuels those private conversations that I have that help build people's brands. Okay. All right. You good? I'm good. I feel good about the power of one CTA. Okay, let's do this. Oh, let's see. So the next thing I wanted to do is go and take a look at another example. So, there's comments. Hold on. I'm going to stop sharing my screen while I talk to you about the next example. Yes, thank you, Tina. I agree. Um, I'm just reading through your notes. Don't worry, Tessa. You can catch the replay. Thank you all so much. I'm so glad you all found me. I'm not in the Facebook group right now. Darn it. Why? Anyway, all right. Well, I'll fix that for tomorrow. I have so many. Actually, I could probably show you. I have so many Facebook streams. So I bet I enabled the wrong one. I'm probably on my personal page. So hi, family. Instead of in the LOVEfluencers group. Anyway, but this is the beauty and the authenticity of doing things like this. There is no right answer. There is no perfect way to do it. I am a shining example of imperfection in action. But the most important thing is that we do it and we try and we struggle. Like this is lightning, like extremely immensely much better than the first time I went live on Restream. It was a disaster. I think my audio wasn't working, and then there was echoes. It was just a disaster. But great. Oh, you're all right. Rebecca's on Facebook. Okay. Well, anyway, we'll figure it out. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, just to close out today's session, and just to give a quick recap, your web presence doesn't necessarily have to be a website. However, I'm a big believer in when somebody Googles you, man, wouldn't it be cool if they happened on a site you created and not on a site like LinkedIn or Facebook that could change at any time without you knowing, change how they present your information in a Google search? You get to own, right, that real estate, and you get to own the traffic that goes there. And then the fun thing is that just by saying your name, like just by saying your name, you could be like, yeah, just go Google me. That's so powerful. So powerful. And then, of course, you want them to Google you and land on a site that you controlled the messaging for. So being intentional about our web presence, sometimes people think, oh my gosh, like websites, blogs, it's so old hat. Like we did that in 2008 and 1998. But the reality is it's still very much the way people find, search, identify solutions to their problems. The other thing, hi everybody, hi Scuba Ben, aw, my friend Scuba Ben on TikTok. You guys should go follow him. He's amazing. So good to see you. Anyway, I have to figure out TikTok so it kind of looks like I'm looking at you guys. But anyway, but it's so important for people, especially with your brand, to be able to happen upon you. Then what we're going to talk about over the next 2 days is how to get on different stages, right? Like if you have a voice, how to get on podcasts, if you have videos, how to get on video channels, how to have an opportunity. I'll tell you, I was just on this amazing podcast yesterday with Dr. Cornell West. I don't know if you know him, but anyway, and I got to say my name. He said my name, right? And I was like, go, geez, that's pretty amazing. How many people from there was like, wonder who this Noelle Silver character is, right? You want someone's curiosity to stumble upon a page that you created. And there's magic in that. And with things like we call it low code web dev now, like with these environments like Google, GoDaddy and Google Sites and all of these, you can create a web presence with no code at all. That's pretty decent. I'll tell you, LOVEfluencers, I stood up that page in less than an hour. Noel.ai. I stood up that page in less than an hour. I used the template, modified the colors, changed the font, and it was the same thing, just two different ways. So huge opportunity there. But then again, you might need some hand holding, so I can of course help you out. Okay, I'm back. All right. Oh my gosh, are you guys still looking at my screen? No. Okay, good. Because I was still like Googling. Okay. So the last thing, just as we wrap up today's all about your presence online. So one, of course, build your domain if you don't have one already. Create a low code website with it. GoDaddy is a great way to do that. I'm not affiliated. I do not have a link that I can share. I mean, of course I could, but that's not what this is about. You could just go to GoDaddy, buy your domain, add website to it. I think right now they're having a special, but even if not, like there's a small charge. If you do not want to pay, you can go to WordPress.com, or I think it's WordPress.org. Anyway, someone in the chat could probably help me out. But you can go to WordPress, or you can go to Blogger, and you could set up your domain there. You could buy a domain and associate it with your Blogger account, which is a Google blog site. So there's lots of different options for free. I am all completely open to sharing with you all the different ways that I know. Actually do it in a paid course that I have where I go through manually, step by step, walking you through the steps. But if you have any questions, just drop them into the chat or into the Facebook group, and we can dive into bigger, better, greater detail. All right. So day 2, the last thing I want to reiterate is the powerfulness of your list. And I want to share with you another mechanism for the written word that you may or may not know. So this is actually tip number 6. I can't believe it. I should start numbering these, especially as we get going further. But tip number 6 is how to leverage the concept of newsletters for free in order to build a list. So there is, let me go ahead and share my screen again. There we go. And in this screen, I'm going to take you to a really cool website called Substack. And I'm just going to Google it, and there it comes right up. But this is a great place you can go, and here is the magic. If you are good at the written word, you can create a Substack. You can create your own domain for it, or you can use a subdomain of Substack. And when I say subdomain, it literally is when you, and I'll go here and type in like AI leader, oh goodness, LEA, exhibition typing, it's always a disaster for me. Leadership report .substack.com. Let's see if I got it right. Leadership, I don't know. We'll see, right? So here's mine. So a subdomain is literally when you have your name that sits in front of someone else's domain. So like on Blogger, you might be AIleadershipreport.blogger.com, right? So those are subdomains. The reality is that most people, especially with social media marketing, they only ever click on a link. They actually might not ever know the name of the site. So in the beginning, just do it. You can always rebrand to a dedicated domain. Okay. All right. So Substack, what is it? It allows you to create a newsletter. I will show you just the settings. So you can see here, there is subscribe. When you subscribe, it'll ask you for your email. I'm going to go, I've never done this before. Let's see. Noel. Oh, look at how many. Oh my goodness. At noelsilver.com. Well, let's do this. Subscribe. Dun, dun, dun. Ooh. And then it pops up a subscription plan. Now, this is an AI leadership report. It's targeted directly towards executives in basically that I'm connected to on LinkedIn that want to know more about artificial intelligence and business services. So it's $100 a month, or they get a $200 discount if they buy the full year in advance. So you do have the option to do annual, monthly. You could be a founding member, or you could just do it for free. And all you'll get is occasional public posts from me. But this is basically a sales funnel, right? It gives me the ability to create written word content. Granted, it has to be valuable, actionable, meaningful, and practical. But now I get to create, like some of you might be thinking, I don't have a product, or I have a product, but I'm struggling to figure out how to make it available. A newsletter might not be a bad place to start, especially today. In the pandemic, it's more likely than ever that someone's looking for information on what you do. Like, what if you created a newsletter, $10 a month, all about, I don't know, online branding as a lovefluencer, right? There's opportunity there because what's in your head and the experiences that you have are important and meaningful. And so, really cool example. So I'm actually going to exit out of this because I don't want to subscribe to my own newsletter, but pretty interesting thing, something to look at, just a tool. One of the things I've committed to you in this challenge was to just show you some things you might not be exposed to or have ever seen before. And this is one of them, how to create a newsletter and add monetization to that newsletter. But remember, think about how that product will go to market, right? Put your product manager hat on and think about, what does free look like? What kind of content, what kind of commitment are you making? What does paid look like? In my case, I'll go over to noel.ai to show you in my services, right? This is my strategy, accept the cookies, right? You can see here, I have an AI leadership report light where you can go and join. It's free. You get occasional posts. But then you join the leadership report, which is $97. Everyone on that list, though, where I really want them to be, is actually in the AI Executive Roundtable, where AI executives get to sit together and ask hard questions, talk about the challenge of diversity, the challenge of building ethical and responsible AI, and the challenge of building inclusive and diverse teams. Like, these are real problems that these executives are facing, and what they could learn from each other by just being in a hosted environment. And so this is the upsell, right? This is where I want them to go. And granted, because it's this intimate conversation, I only have so many spots. So I make that available. But as soon as the spot opens, I go to the next person on the waiting list and I send them an email saying, hey, we've got 4 spots open at the executive roundtable. Come on over. And this is just one example of how you can use this as a product, but I thought it's kind of cool. And I wanted to share with you, just give you an idea of some of the neat things that I'm working on. Okay, let's go into the chat. If you've got some questions, let me know. Let's see. Tip number 6, Tina says, how to leverage the concept of newsletters in order to build a list. Yes. And ConvertKit, free version. Awesome. Perfect. There are so many tools. I think this is the value of being in a community, because all of us are going to happen upon different tools and techniques, and communities are communities who share, right? It's how we like, if I learn something, the first thing I want to do is tell you all, like, oh my gosh, I just did this thing. And then I'll try it and maybe it'll work and maybe it won't, but I would share that journey with you. I think part of being a lovefluencer, part of being in this community, is being willing to share your journey as part of your brand and encouraging others along the way. So that's about it. I have 2 minutes left. I'm trying to stay within the 1 hour period, though I was a little bit late to start. Tessa is asking me, are you asking me? If I work for someone or have my own business. And the reality is all of the above. I have 4 munchkins and my dad, who I work for all the time. I also have a full-time job working at Hacker U. I am off this week, which is why I get to dedicate this time to you. And I'm going to be doing, when I'm not talking to you live, I'm recording tons of content that'll get me through the end of the year. And then I have LOVEfluencers, which is a active business that I'm growing. And also I have the AI Leadership Institute, which is where that AI Leadership Report is part of. So thanks for the question. All right, another question, Tina. What do you do? What do you, let's see. Oh, how do I write content maybe inside that report? So actually I build it right into Substack, but technically it's copied and pasted from a Word doc because I use tools like Grammarly to make sure that my grammar is okay. Um, I do encourage all of you, if you use the power of the written word, there's varying levels of perfection when it comes to writing. I write how I talk, and I am unapologetic about that. And my audience knows that about me. So it's important to kind of not be bogged down by perfection, because in the written word, you might want to send it to someone. I always encourage you to have someone you know who maybe cares about you read your content and give you loving, supportive, constructive feedback. You all are actually that for me, right? I would send something to you and be like, what do you think? Um, so there's that part of it. But no, I don't like build it and send it. I try to embed it because you want it to be frictionless. The other thing is multimodality. I don't just want to create content and you have to like click on something and then that takes you to YouTube and you watch it on YouTube. Like, I don't want you to have to move around. I want it native in the environment in which you're connecting with me. So in Substack, I embed native videos of me teaching the concept. Then there's the written version underneath, and then my single call to action, what I want them to do with that information at the end. But hopefully that is helpful. Yes, of course, no problem. You guys are so amazing. Thanks for being so supportive. It is 101 Eastern Standard Time. We are going to be going live tomorrow at the same time, 12 o'clock. Thank you all for pinging me. I always get like 15 or so pings like, you're going live, right? You're going live. Yes, I promise you I will be live. I may be a couple minutes late because I have the munchkins upstairs. Who knows what my house looks like right now? I'm excited. Maybe I'll do a live just showing you the damage. But tomorrow, we are going to shift from the power of the written word using newsletters. I didn't even talk to you about writing ebooks. Oh, I might slide that into the recap tomorrow about using ebooks also to promote your brand, because there's a really cool way to build an ebook that then can be turned into a physical book. Such good stuff. Anyway, so I'll share with you in the recap tomorrow. But tomorrow we're going to talk all about the power of your voice and how you can create your own podcast, how you can also build an Alexa skill leveraging your voice or leveraging Alexa's voice if you don't like speaking. And really, what are all the different places that you can just speak and have your message heard by the world? So tomorrow's all about your voice. I hope you will tune in. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you found it helpful. The homework. Are you ready? The homework. I already alluded to it, but I'm going to create a post that just identifies the homework. Please put it in there. It makes it easier for me to identify the winner. But our homework is going to be identify your personal brand. So if you have a personal website, post it. If you don't, go grab it and post that you've got it. If you already have like a LinkedIn profile, right, just let us know, where are you? Where's your presence on the web? If you've already got one, post it and your homework is done. If you don't have one, now is your chance. And if you need help, reach out to me, DM me on Facebook in the group, and I will help you get that done. I am all yours this week, so I'm excited to help you do that. It's a critical moment in your brand when you go and grab the domain of yourself, right? And stake your claim in the internet world. So I'm excited to see all of you do that. Let me know how it goes. Post it into the announcement that I will be posting momentarily. And then check out the video. We have a winner. I have 2 new entries to the contest. I did this spinny wheel. And so I'm going to spin the wheel, record it, and post that in the next half hour. And tomorrow's prize, because we are moving into the power of your voice, is I am going to be giving away, I don't have it with me because I left it upstairs, but it's this blue snowball speaker thing. It's about, I don't know how much it costs, doesn't really matter, but it will help you because you can plug it into your computer and it'll amplify the quality of your voice in these recordings. So tomorrow, do your homework today. Tomorrow you could be in the running for a blue snowball speaker. I could probably show you what that looks like. Anyway, look it up. Danny, what's up? So glad you made it. Thank you. DM me and I'll send you, Danny, DM me and I will send you the link in the Facebook group, to the Facebook group. So awesome. So good to see you all. This was so fun. Day 2. How awesome. Okay, that's it. I'll see you all tomorrow. This is so fun. Oh my gosh, I love these challenges. Okay, talk to you tomorrow. You got your homework. If you forget, just go to the Facebook group. I'll do a recap and I'll talk to you then. Bye.